We are back with one of our favorite series here. It's called Life Lessons. Kenny Rogers, of course, famously saying, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
You didn't want to sing it? Okay.
Our next guest is she's here to echo that sentiment.
This is so fascinating to me. Annie Duke is a former professional poker player turned best-selling author. She spent years coaching and consulting businesses and leaders on how to make better decisions.
And that includes knowing when to quit. And Annie's latest book is titled Quit: The Power of Knowing When to Walk Away. Annie, good to see you.
Great concept.
This is right on time because we've been hearing all about, the quiet quitting and folks saying, you know what, I want to quit. And it's always had a negative connotation, but not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, when we think about the battle between grit and quit, grit is a virtue, right?
Sure.
It means building character.
Yes.
Tough it out.
To things like just persevere and you'll succeed. But the thing is, quit shouldn't be thought of as cowardice, because there are situations where it's very clear you should quit. Like, what if you are playing football and you got a concussion? Should you not walk off the field?
It's a timely question.
Right. What if you're in a job with a toxic boss? Should you not go look for another opportunity? And I think that we forget that. So when you call someone a quitter, you're insulting them. But why? It's a really important decision skill that we need to get good at.
And I want to reframe it.
Yes, I want to rehabilitate it.
I love that. Well, I was fascinated when I was reading your story, because with poker, you have to know when to quit. And then for you especially, I mean, you won more than $4 million. When did you say, you know what, this is enough? Why did you decide?
When it wasn't something that I was happy with, and when the game had changed and people were honestly getting better than I was. And I just, decided, given what I was doing with the rest of my time, and there were books that I wanted to write, and I was already doing business consulting.
So you quit.
I quit because it was no longer making me happy, and I didn't want to put the work in to get better anymore.
We've spent some time talking about the millions who quit their jobs during COVID. Besides COVID, what do you think led to the Great Resignation?
So I think there's this really interesting thing, right? Quitting is sometimes voluntary. You choose to quit your job, but sometimes you're forced to quit it. You get laid off, or you get furloughed, or maybe you get fired. And that happened to a whole lot of people at the beginning of the pandemic. And the interesting thing about that, I mean, not that I think that we should all wish that this happens to us, but it certainly happened in my life, is that it allows you to explore other opportunities. Because if you're doing one job, you're usually not thinking as much about, does this align with my values? What are the other things I could be doing with this time? And I myself was forced to quit graduate school because I got sick, and that made me go look for something else to do, which was poker. So when you look at the Great Resignation, it's not that everybody quit. It's that the people in specific who were furloughed, the service workers who were forced to quit, I assume they were looking for other opportunities, exploring their values. And then when the great reopening happened, they said, you know what, I want to go get a different job. And they went and found something else to do.
Time to pivot.
Things come, exactly.
So what's the process then, Annie, for when you're trying to decide whether it's a relationship, maybe it's a hobby, it's maybe not necessarily a job, or you're in a class or something. How do you figure out, okay, maybe now is the time to call it quits?
Yeah, so there's two strategies, and both of them are to not rely on the fact that you'll know in the moment, because there's all sorts of forces that bias us against quitting. So when things are kind of going poorly, we think, oh, if things are going poorly, I'll quit. But actually, we tend to double down and escalate our commitment to the cause. So you have to actually sort of get outside of that moment. Two ways to do it. One is to get someone to help you. I recommend go get a quitting coach.
A quitting
coach? Is that a thing?
Well, it should be. I have it in my book. But find someone who has your best interests at heart. It could be a mentor or a friend, someone who's an expert, who you can go talk to and say, is this the right time to quit? A parent can be in that role. A therapist could be in that role.
Got it.
They can see it because, all right, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen someone who's doing something, they're in a job, and they're complaining about it, and you know they should quit?
And you're like, you need to come up with something else.
They can't see it.
That's true. That's
right?
true.
So find someone to be that person for you. And then the other thing you can do is just think ahead. I'm kind of unhappy now, but I'm not sure what I should do. Let me think, how long can I sort of take this for? Like, you're in a bad job. All right, I can do this for 2 more months. What does that look like in 2 months? And if it doesn't look, the way I want it in 2 months, then I'll walk away.
That's good. That's good. Okay, really quickly, we only have like a minute minute left, if not less than that.
Okay.
Where's the line between grit, maybe teaching your kids or trying to show yourself, I'm not going to give up. Maybe I'll learn something from this. Life isn't easy.
Right.
You know, where's the line between perseverance and, okay, I got to quit?
So this is the whole game because they're the same decision. So grit is really great for getting you to stick to hard things that are worthwhile, but it unfortunately also gets you to stick to hard things that are not worthwhile. So you have to tell the difference. And for parents, what I say is think about what you're trying to get your child to achieve and don't make the specific thing they're doing the goal. So I know a story about someone whose parents wanted them to play a musical instrument, and he picked the saxophone. When he tried it, he hated the taste of the reed. It was like horrible for him, but they made him stick to it because they said, I want you to build character and I don't want you to be a quitter.
Yes.
Meanwhile, he still, he can't even listen to the saxophone, and he didn't end up playing a musical instrument. They should have just switched him
Maybe
to a
moving to
different
piano
instrument.
or something.
Exactly, exactly.
Interesting.
It's a good conversation.
It is. Appreciate it. Quit. The power of knowing when to walk away is outright.
Good.
Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away.
Okay, we know the song.
Full circle.
Time to quit.
Sing it, Craig.
Time to quit.
They used to play that when I played poker. Whenever I would go on, I'd hear Kenny Rogers. So I'm glad I put it to good use.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.